This podcast is brought to you in conjunction with Hustro.com, a leading construction management software tool.
You know, the thinking that got you to £1 million turnover a year is not the same thinking that will get you to £10 million a year. It's not the same thinking that will get you to £50 million a year. It's not the same thinking that will get you to £100 million a year. So here's a great methodology. You know, I sense that people in the construction industry aren't very good at planning. They're not good at, you know, creating plans and projections, but there's a way that can make life easier for you.
Hello everybody, Gavin, Coyle, I'm the Gaffer, back with another great guest today. Anil Gupta is in Florida, and guess what we're talking about today? We are talking about communication strategies that prevent breakdowns and expensive mistakes in construction. Well, this guy's got some CV. He is an internationally recognized relationship and mindset expert known as the Love Doctor. So we're going to get into that. How does that connect with us today? Let's see. Helping individuals, couples and leaders transform how they show up in life and work. A double international best-selling author and TEDx speaker, Anil has worked with clients in over 18 countries, guiding people through personal and professional breakthroughs by strengthening communication, emotional clarity, and resilience under pressure. His work has been featured on platforms including Fox News, Sky TV, Harvard, ABC, and NBC, and he has coached high-profile figures and spoken alongside global leaders. I've had a good chat with Anil in the pre-chat chat. Really looking forward to this one because, you know, we need to step out of our comfort zone in terms of the day-to-day work as you plan your week and as you plan your month and as you plan your year. What is it actually that you have put in place in terms of your mindset and in terms of a structure that shows and allows you to turn up consistently every day and every week, and that has a end goal in mind, or something that is sustainable to keep you on track, keep your company on track, keep your employees on track, keep the business healthy, and keep your mindset in such a way allows you to flourish and not be under this massive pressure that you're dealing with on a day-to-day basis or on an hour-to-hour basis. I want you to take 45 minutes out of your time to listen to this conversation, because I think Anil will resonate a lot of topics that's probably going through your mind that you probably don't think about until all the chaos starts to go away at the weekend when it's too late. So sit back and listen to this podcast, because you're going to enjoy not just the chat, but he's a real character. Anil, welcome to the podcast. It's great to have you.
Thank you for having me. And here's a promise of the podcast. You will earn more money with less effort, have more time with your family, have a substantially reduced amount of stress, and start enjoying your life. And this will add more years to your life and more life to your years. If you implement, you see, people think knowledge is power, but it's not. I know how to lose weight, but I don't use that knowledge. So when you implement what we're going to teach you today, that will produce a brand new life for you, because the decisions you make today will create a brand new life for you. So listen up and welcome to the podcast.
Brilliant. Where do we start? As in, where the hell did you come out of, Anil? How did you get to here? And what are you doing, talking to us today in this topic? What was the career path? And just give us like a short snip of your life experiences up to now to where it's brought you to, to be on the podcast with us today.
I was born in Africa, lived in London for 35 years. I had a property business, an optometry business in London. I've owned a pub, a restaurant, a pizza, property businesses.
I moved from London to Orlando, started a real estate business. I've been a broker for 24 years. We've managed properties, 400 properties at a time. My family's in construction. In the UK, I have family who are in the construction of nursing homes, and they've got probably the top tier nursing homes in the country. They're like 5-star hotels. So
wow.
I've got experience around that, but the main experience that I want to share with your audience is mindset. You see, if you plan your future, you will plan to succeed. But most people don't plan their future. They look at day-to-day things, week-to-week things. But if you plan, have a 1-year plan, a 3-year plan, and a 5-year plan, and a 10-year plan, you will stand a much better chance of being successful. And that way you can be responsive and anticipate what is going to happen in the construction industry rather than be reactive. So really, it's all about a mindset. If you love what you do and do what you love, it becomes effortless and frictionless, and you'll have more time, more energy, more vitality. But if you focus on, oh, this is so hard, I'm not getting it right, people are not turning up, and this, you're focusing on the wrong thing. So if you focus on the good things that are working, all the other stuff will get handled.
So, in terms of your own experience and your sort of competency in this subject, where did that come about?
So I used to have a practice. Patients would come in, and at the end of the exam, they would ask me questions. I don't know why. Maybe they felt comfortable, and I would give them a solution. And they would come back and say, "Hey, that worked." And I said, "Of course it worked." I thought it was obvious, but it was obvious to me, but it wasn't obvious to them. So I realized that I was able to have a gift an intuitive gift in solving people's solutions. So I started doing events, 5 people, 10, 20, 50, 100, 500, 10,000 people. I just got better and better at it. I've spoken in 18 countries, 8 languages, 4 continents. So I have a skill set, and everything really is around one thing. It's awareness. Awareness gives you clarity. Clarity gives you focus. Focus gives you action. Action gives you results. Results gives you momentum, which gives you everything. You cannot be successful. You cannot be happy, joyous, in love without awareness. So that's the number one thing we in the construction industry you have to work on. Awareness of where you are, where you want to get to, how to get there. Plan for the future, and it makes all the difference. Would you agree?
Yeah, so we see a lot of challenges with business owners in the small to medium enterprise segment where they don't have what we'd call a written business plan for the business. So your SWOT analysis, all the good stuff that says everything about your business, your brand, and who you want to be and who you're going to be and how that's going to be put together, and then how the financials are going to match the aspiration or the ambition. Some do it really well in the sense that they've never done a plan, but they just know how to put this together, and it's working for them. But what we've seen probably in that segment of the demographic is that even though they're really good at the start, when they start to scale, then because they don't have a clear, consistent structure, things start getting out of hand. So the problems become bigger. The money becomes bigger, but also the problems become bigger. And then there isn't this kind of like, well, hold on, I've been doing this for the last 10, 15 years and I've been very successful. How all of a sudden has it become a problem for me because, I have this model that's successful. Whereas, the mindset of entrepreneurship and successful business is if you have this framework that you've developed and that it constantly evolves and you go back to it and then you refine it and you make it better. They're not doing that because they just were naturally sort of drawn into this sort of, how would you say, position that just naturally, happens without any sort of plan or any sort of structure. And then you also have the people who just never done the plan, always working 9 to, mad hours, but then, not making great money, just surviving at the best and don't know anything any better and just keep shoulder to the wheel. And, at some stage, this is going to break and I'm going to make money. And then at the top tier, you'd have a better polished version of, good structure, good organization, good values, good culture, good systems, good people, good culture, good resources, good profit. And generally, it's more of a case of how do I keep on top of that then and make the people better and make myself better.
Yeah, it's so true. That the the thinking that got you to £1 million turnover a year is not the same thinking that will get you to £10 million a year. It's not the same thinking that will get you to £50 million a year. It's not the same thinking that will get you to £100 million a year. So
No.
here's a great methodology. You know, I sense that people in the construction industry aren't very good at planning. They're not good at, you know, creating plans and projections. But there's a way that can make life easier for you. If you start using ChatGPT, and it's very simple, you don't really need to know much. All you do is ask ChatGPT, hey, ChatGPT, I'm going to tell you what I do for a business. I'm going to tell you all about my projects. I'm going to give you my financials, and I'm going to give you the things I love to do, the things I don't love to do, and all the projects that I've completed. I would love for you to be the best project manager, the best anticipator of current trends in the industry, the best financial advisor, and I'd like you to be a mentor to me and answer any questions that I have. And the first question is this: I'm currently wanting to double my business in the next 24 months. How do you suggest I do that? That's it. How long did that take to do? A few minutes.
Yeah.
Let it do that work and let it make suggestions for you, because it'll see trends that you can't see. It'll make suggestions that you may not see. And he can be your ally, and he's working for you 24 hours a day.
Yeah, brilliant. Especially in this day and age, if you're not on that AI train, you know, you really are left back at the platform. It's so simple for something to do something like that. But then you have to execute the plan. And that's where maybe some of the issues arise is, you know, taking on good staff to deliver on the promise. And so where do we kick in with you in terms of what you offer, Anil? So why am I reaching out to you at this point? If I have all my AI business plan done, now I have my structure, now I have a sort of vision for the future. Where do you fit in with me?
So you have all of that, but it's still stressful. So I'm going to give you a technique that will reduce your stress levels by 80%. If you're interested, I'd be willing to share with you.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. If I said to you, rip off your right shoulder, knowing you would bleed to death, and give it to me, would you do it?
No.
No, it's a hell no. And it's a rule that we have. As human beings, we're rule-making machines. We're constantly making rules. That has to happen. They have to behave in this way. This has to happen. So the more rules that we have, the more pain that we have. But that's a good rule. I would keep that. Now, what if you use the same rule for your happiness? Under no circumstances would I give my happiness away. How often in the day do you give your happiness away? You react to this, or that breaks, or they haven't done this, or they haven't turned up, or you get a complaint, or, you know, the building inspector comes in and there's a problem. You give your happiness away. Don't ever give your happiness away. Don't ever react. Just say, okay, I appreciate that. Let's find a solution. You see, the thing is this: if you think about it, every single time anything's ever happened, you found a solution. So if you know that you have the ability to handle whatever life throws at you, you never need to panic. You never need to get stressed. You just say, you know what? I can do this. That will allow you to think more clearly and find better solutions. And it's better for your health, and it's better for the people around you, because if you're calm, they're calm. And you will teach them the right shoulder rule so that they will handle situations for you.
And so are we talking meditation here, or are we talking, you know, what's the trigger points to go, okay, I need to think about what Anil is saying to me here, or Anil is saying to me here? What is that? What does that look like?
Yeah, it's not meditation. It's really simple. If you feel you're getting upset, it means you're reacting. You're giving your happiness away. And it's awareness. We talked about awareness. So anytime you're feeling, oh, you know, I'm not happy, or that really annoyed me, in that moment, your happiness gone. And then you can say, okay, I know what to do now. And it's a muscle. You know, when you first started in the construction business, everything was difficult. But as you do it every day, it gets easier and easier and easier. So anytime you get upset, and this could be with your wife, with your kids, with your friends, anybody, just say, oh, the right shoulder rule, Anil's right shoulder rule. I'm not going to give my happiness away. I'm not going to react. And guess who wins? Everybody wins.
Yeah, I think like there's a lot of dynamic as a construction business owner. There's a lot of dynamic that they have to deal with. They're dealing with people's emotions. You don't know what people are going through outside of work. They're bringing that personality into work, or that emotion, or that issue that they might be having into work. You're dealing with the client expectations and sometimes demands that are probably above where you can actually achieve or you can deliver. You're dealing with the bank. You're dealing with all the consultants and advisors that are sort of giving you advice, but also probably looking for money as well, in terms of their, well, for obviously for the giving you services, but then you're balancing a lot of different things that are going on. So it's very easy to lose your happiness, Anil. That's where I'm going with this.
It is, but
there's a lot of taking out of the happiness bucket. Let's just put it that way.
it is at the moment, but it gets easier and easier. And here's another technique. When you're dealing with women, you have to know this. They don't want to be fixed. They want to feel safe. They want to feel heard. They want to feel understood. So if you've got a women client, just say, hey, I hear what you say. I understand. Let me just tell you what I heard. And she will feel so heard. Men want respect. They want edification. And if you give them that, they are going to be far more responsive to you. So it's about awareness. Who are you talking to? And the secret is listen twice as long as you speak. We've got 2 ears, 1 mouth.
Yeah.
These are little things. And let me give you an example. The benefit of an alarm clock is wakes you up. The benefit of that is you have a rested sleep. The benefit of that, you're not stressed. The benefit of that, you have more time for family. The benefit of that, you're more productive. The benefit of that, you make more money. The benefit of that, you're happier. The benefit of that is you live a longer, richer, happier life. That's just an alarm clock. So what we're going to teach you today is the benefit of the benefit of the benefit over 5, 10, 20 years will be enormous as long as you take action. So you've had the right shoulder rule. Here's another thing that completely changed my life. When I was suicidal, 2008, I did this. Be so amazing that you cannot be ignored. And if you are ignored, it doesn't matter, because how you show up will be the best version of you. So wherever you go, be the best version of you. Let people remember you. And there are 2 types of people on the planet. Ones that make you happy when you enter a room, ones that make you happy when you leave a room. When you have raving fan clients, they will refer you. They will say, oh, you've got to get work done by him. Oh my God, he's amazing. And then people will come to you. You don't have to hunt for people. And you feel good because you're being the best version of you. People will want to work for you. You'll get higher caliber people working for you. See, most people leave an employment because of loss of faith in the leadership. But if they believe in you and you've got a great group, you've got a great crew, life gets just so much easier. And remember, you're the common denominator in wherever you go. When you show up the best version of you, everybody else around you changes.
Are you looking to spend less time on paperwork and more time making things happen on site? Hustro.com is the simplest construction management software out there. Streamline inspections, defect reporting, and all your project documentation all in one app. With Hustro.com, contractors are seeing 75% less time on inspections and reports, 47% faster corrective actions, and almost a third quicker decision making. Hustro.com is the simplest software to manage construction projects, period. Level up your site efficiency today with Hustro.com. I'm going to pull you up on that because you flipped over that mental health crisis in 2008. Are you happy to divulge a bit more into that, or will we leave that as a...
No, anything you like. I'm an open book.
Yeah.
Around 2008, I didn't want to admit it. But now, you know what? It's just stuff. And it's allowed me to be the best version of me. So ask away.
So what was the trigger point that's led to your mental attack, if you like, mental health attack on you?
So I was gambling on the stock exchange, and I had real estate. Well, I had two real estate offices, real estate, and everything just happened at the same time. And it was a Friday evening, and I just lost everything. And
Wow.
and I went up to the bedroom, and I thought I better tell my wife.
Yeah. Wow.
So I said, "Honey, look, something really bad has happened." She said, "What's going
Yeah.
on?" I said,
It's
I've,
and the car hasn't broke down, by the way. Sorry to cut
yeah.
across you.
So I said, "We've lost everything. I've lost everything: the house, the cars, the money in the bank, the children's school funds." And she looked up at me and she smiled. And I thought, "What's wrong with you? Did you not hear what I said?" She said, "Honey, I knew something was wrong because you've been behaving strangely." I had been, of course.
Yeah.
I knew it's going to happen, but I thought, maybe there's a way out. And she said, "I thought you had cancer. I thought you were dying."
Wow.
Wow. I thought, I never thought of that. She said, "I don't care about the money." That was not what I was expecting, because I thought that's what she wanted.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
guys, ladies and gentlemen, ask your partner what they want. And it may not be money. It may not be jewels. It may not be, rings. It might be just, "I wish you'd spend more time with us. I wish you'd spend more time with the kids. I wish you would relax. I wish you would take time off for yourself." Just ask.
Mm-hmm.
And from that, when you have a partner that is supportive like that, everything changed. And that was my worst day, but it became my best day.
Wow. Thanks for sharing that with us. That's very powerful, and that actually resonates, I think, with a lot of the listeners and viewers, in the sense that you try and put on this tough persona that, like, I can do this, and failure's not an option. And then when failure's facing you straight in the face and you are going down, how many people have not had that conversation? So well done to you that you just fronted up with it and said, "Look, this is what's happening." But well done to her, because no matter what you were going through, she was still waiting for you there in the crisis moment, and you couldn't ask for a better response. I think it's probably the best response I've ever heard in such a time like that. And I think 2008 obviously would have been in around the crash period anyway, so you weren't the
Yeah.
only one that was suffering at that stage. Not to minimize your suffering, but the catastrophe that happened in around that period of time. A lot of people did choose to lose their life because of that, and it's a testament that you're still here today. And well done, Miss Gupta.
And I remember looking down from the first floor, and I looked down. And I thought, "That's 16 feet. If I jump, I'd probably not kill myself. I'd probably maim myself." And I thought, "I'm such a failure. I can't even do that." 'Cause it's comical, but that's what I
Yeah,
was thinking.
it's
And
self-destruction. Yeah.
yeah, even today, I cannot sit on a hotel balcony. I cannot overlook, because
Wow.
it just triggers me. But
Yeah.
I'm not going to do anything. But the thing is this: it's not what happens in life; it's who you become. In that moment, if today you say to yourself, "Look, what am I grateful for? Look at these things. Your hands. When was the last time you thanked your hands? If you're 30 years old, your heart has beaten 1 billion times. So if you're 30 years old, you're billionaires. So this is the most precious thing you have. Focus on
Yeah.
that. The other stuff is just stuff. When you die, you don't take anything with you.
Yeah.
Life is not about the number of breaths you take, but the number of times your breath is taken away. When a child is born, when you get married, when something beautiful happens, focus on the important stuff. All the other stuff is not that important. It's just stuff.
Yeah, and I think we get caught up as well in creating personas in the workplace, where we have to have this persona of strength, dogged determination. I'll get it done. When I think if you're a little bit more vulnerable with your employees and with your clients, they kind of and more authentic probably is probably a better word. Let your guard down. I think life becomes better in not just in your home life, but in your work life, because you can be yourself. You're not trying to be somebody you're not, and you're not choosing your words in such a way that, I have to say it in a certain way because I don't want that person to think, anything of me in that regard or whatever. Like, I'm not trying to say that you shouldn't have one switch for workplace and a one switch for home place. Yes, you do need to leave the home place separate to the workplace. In my mind, to a point, but you shouldn't lose your authentic personality.
Yeah, true. I have another technique that I use in my coaching practice. So imagine you go home. Imagine there's a tree outside your house. Okay. So stop outside the tree, put all your worries on that tree, and then just stop for 30 seconds and say something like this. I'm entering my sanctuary. This is my temple. This is my castle. I will not let anyone from the outside diminish my happiness. This is my family time. This is my time. This is my castle. This is my sanctuary. This is my temple. And then you're in a good mood. And then when you come out, you can pick up all the worries. But guess what? There'll be less worries to pick up.
When you say things like that, is this not more manifestation type work? Or is how do you frame this sort of mindset?
Well, it's really very simple. Just put your worries on the tree, we can talk about manifestation, but manifestation is something that you plan. If a great way I would recommend all of your listeners do this one thing is create a vision board, right? Get a board and put things on there that you would love. It could be a castle, it could be a big boat, a big car, a big house, whatever you like. And you'll be amazed at what will happen, because what happens, you've got something in your brain called the reticular activating system, and it'll work to make things happen for you. You can manifest a lot of things just by visualizing, putting on the vision board and looking for things, looking for opportunities. And when you be so amazing, you cannot be ignored, people will come to you because you'll be at a different energy and you'll show up in a different way to everybody else.
Hello, gaffers. Hope you're enjoying the podcast. We love every one of the guests that we have, but in order to bring on more great guests, we'd love to build the channel with you. So hit the subscribe, hit the like button, and let's create a really great community where we bring in better and better guests for you to deliver great content and great pieces of information that you can take back into your business. Now, back to the podcast. Thank you. What are the common traits you're seeing with your clients and out there when you're doing speaking and people are saying, oh my God, and they'll that discussion about X really resonated with me. Do you see sort of common themes in the current climate with people, and what are those?
The biggest thing I've noticed is people not being worthy.
Really?
I feel I'm not good enough. There's something wrong with me. I'm not enough.
Is that like an imposter syndrome?
Well, it is. But, when we grew up, our parents would say, oh, you could have done that better. You could have done that. Or something happened at school. And there's a very simple technique, and I'm very practical. So if I said to you, here's a £50 note, how much is it worth? It's £50. And if you say to the note, you're a piece of garbage, you're a failure, no one loves you, you're not successful, you're not good enough, it's still worth £50. So imagine you are the £50 note, no matter what anyone says to you, no matter what happens to you, no matter what you've been through, you always retain your value. Now, that £50 note is actually quite priceless. You can take that £50 note, go to Aldi, who will take it somewhere else and give £50 worth of value. That same £50 will go somewhere else to give another £50. And that same 50 will continue to bring value wherever it goes. And it's the same for you. You bring value wherever you go. So never forget that. And we do. We do. And we are valuable because people love us. And we focus on the wrong things. What you focus on is what you get. So I wanted to share this one thing that will help a lot of people in the construction industry. What I've noticed is that the principals, the owners, tend to do the big decisions or the smaller decisions. So people come to them with their problems. So then what they solve is, so I was guilty of that. I would go into my office, I would find a problem, fix it, find a problem, fix it, find a problem, fix it, and I felt good. But what you have to do is become a solution provider. If you find solutions a better way to handle situations. So before someone comes to you with a problem, ask them to do this one thing. So, hey, manager, if you have a problem, I want you to come to me with 3 solutions. Guess what will happen?
Tell me.
They will look at the solutions and they'll figure it out. They won't come to you. Then you have more time to work on the bigger stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about highest and best use. For me as a speaker, it's speaking, coaching, content. So if you're a construction, manager or an owner, principal, what are the 3 highest and uses? I would say it's relationships, getting to meet people. It'll be sales, stroke marketing, and it will be what would be the third thing?
So operations,
Operations. There you go. Yeah. Systems.
Yeah.
So if you just focus on those 3 things and let everybody else do all the other things, that will easily enable you to expand your business, make it sustainable. But the big thing here, you know what it is? It makes your business sellable. And that's what we want at the end of the day. We always have to have an exit strategy. So if you have these systems in place, if you have a process, and then someone can come in and say, oh, I can take that over. And it's not just you, because if it's just you, then it's not a sellable business. And this way you'll get a 3x, 5x, 10x, and you can have a beautiful retirement. So you've always got to think about your exit strategy. What's the number? Is it 10 million, 50 million, 100 million?
Yeah.
And this will allow you to get there. This is huge.
No, I agree 100%. And it doesn't have to be, your number might seem like a pie in the sky number to other people, but it's your number, and that's your number, and nobody can take that away from you. So if it's 100 million, or if it's 10 million, or if it's 1 million, it's your number. Now, you'll have very smart people that can come into the room and go very quickly, no, it's not 100 million, it's X. But then, you have a valuation, and you have some sort of a structure to the measurement of the value of your business. So that if you wanted to go to that 100 million, you can go, okay, well then if it looks like that at 1 million, how do I get it to 10 million? How do I get it to, and that's exactly back to our earlier point in what you said at the start was, a company looks different from 1 million to 5 million, 5 million to 10 million, 10 million to 50 million. And 100%, I agree with you there that you cannot deliver, or if you do, you're one of very few people or very few companies that can deliver the same product, service, capabilities, structure, value, whatever you want to call it, deliverables. As a 1 million company as you would as a 10 million or 50 million company. It's just, you just evolve, and you have to move this machine into a different model. And as you say, if you don't have these mechanisms and resources in place, the whole thing is going to collapse. And it starts with you, doesn't it? The collapse starts with the individual, the leader, whether it's one leader or 2 or 3 leaders. You're all going down together.
Yeah, and it's all about you. If you show up the best version of you, this will add more years to your life and more life to your years. And people say, when is enough enough? And whenever you have to ask that question, you have enough.
Yeah.
You don't want to work and work and work, and then you fall ill, you die, and your kids don't want your business. They don't want your business. They've got other stuff to do. Don't live for your kids. This may sound very controversial. Don't live for your kids. Live for yourself. The greatest gift you can give your kids is this: give them the ability to handle life. A lot of kids today are enabled and entitled. They just don't know how to handle life. They're living at home. They're living off you. That's not the way it's supposed to be.
And they're living, a lot of them I see are living on instant gratification. That we are guilty of feeding that system of instant gratification, whereas you've built this company over years and over millions of minutes and hours to get to where you are. And good things don't generally just fall out of a tree and land on your feet. It takes time, it takes energy, and a slow build model will always be a more sustainable model, from what I've seen anyway, and for what it's worth. And I agree with you 100%. And that's the first person I've heard say don't live for your kids in terms of work, and that's what you mean by like, don't live for your kids in terms, don't work for your kids, work for you, work for the business, work for, the end goal, and there'll be a byproduct for the kids somewhere along the line on that. But, I think it's a very powerful message is that you don't actually, have this thing that, I'm going to hand this business over to my kids, because the statistics show that the kids don't really care. I think if they don't mess it up on the first generation, they definitely mess it up on the second generation.
Yeah, and what's happening in our generation is this. We work really hard. We've been through a lot, and we make this decision. I don't want my kids to go through what I went through, so we enable them and entitle them because we're so fearful of losing love from them. But it's the worst thing you can do. The greatest gift you can give your kids is this: give them the ability to handle life by throwing adversity at them. Make it difficult for them, and then they can handle life, and they will love you because they want to, not because you've got an ATM.
An ATM. Very good. A couple of curveball questions at you, Anil. Knowing what you know now, what would you do in life that's different?
I would be organized and disciplined.
Okay.
If I was organized and disciplined, I'd be worth a ton of money and I'd be making a bigger difference. But I just wasn't. And it's one of my biggest regrets.
Okay. Favorite book?
Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. If you not just read this book, but study this book, read it every year, study it every year, buy a brand new book every year, because you'll see things that are different from the previous year. Think and Grow. Master that book. If you've got kids, give it to them.
Wow. Love it. Favorite holiday destination, Anil, or your go-to place when happiness is not exactly working out for you?
Well, whether it is or not, it's Bali. I was just recently there, and it's just a beautiful place. Beautiful people, beautiful energy, no high rises, and just great food, great health, and just peaceful people, happy people, genuinely. That's where I would go. I've been to 82 countries, so it's a hard question, but that's where I would go.
82 countries, my God. I've lost.
There's 193, so not even halfway.
Something of interest about you that probably the listeners wouldn't know or wouldn't resonate with you. It could be a hobby, or it could be something that could be, a point of interest about you that not many people would probably know.
So every morning, I get up at 4:45 a.m. Then I go to play pickleball from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. And on 25th of August, I slipped and fell playing pickleball. I smashed up my left hand. You can see a little bit there.
Yeah.
I broke it in 9 places, dislocated it, and it was so painful. But it was one of the best days of my life because I realized I wasn't slowing down. I realized that there's so much more joy. Just, even if I'm having a cup of coffee, I'm just enjoying it more because I just decided to enjoy it more.
Yeah.
And I'm slowing down, and the important stuff. I'm getting rid of stuff. Clutter.
Yeah.
I don't need it.
Brilliant. I love it. Anil, how do people get in touch with you in terms of, is it LinkedIn? Do you want to give us the website? Tell us about how to contact you.
Yeah, my website is meetanil.com. You'll find a lot of resources there. And if you want to have a chat with me, I have a unique ability to remove the obstacles that are preventing you from leading a richer, fuller, happier life. It's chatwithanil.com. I'd be happy to help you.
Yeah, and I see the website meet as in meetanil.com. Elevate your love life. It all begins with one meaningful conversation. But of course, it's as we spoke about it at the start of the show, it's relationships. It's about you, the person. It's about, growing yourself. And it's about, being able to mind yourself so that you can, look after not just yourself, but your family and your employees. And it's all cross relatable in terms of what you're doing. And as you said yourself, like, you're all across the world. In terms of the book, what's the name of the book?
The current book is called Immediate Happiness. The new book that will be coming out next month is called The Heart Map for Love.
Wow, you are you are a proper coach, as opposed to when you see some of these coaches out there that are trying to pump their services.
It's so sad because they don't have the experience, and
Yeah,
you need the experience. You need to go through difficult times. You need to be able to serve people and have credentials. And I'm not really a coach. I'm a mentor. So I look at every aspect. I look at health, wealth, happiness, joy, relationships, father, mother, father, parent relationships. It's so important. And the decisions you make today will create a brand new life. And, I made this promise. Do you think we fulfilled on the promise?
I do so. Yeah, and I think if anyone's listened to the podcast and they're struggling and just probably lost their way and probably just need a reset button, I think, Anil, that'd be a great conversation for you to have with that person, because you're full of positive energy, and if someone can just if you can give that out to one person even today, I think you've done a great job.
No, and thank you for what you do, because it's not easy running your own podcast. You've got to get clients, you've got to get guests, and you've got to vet them, and people don't realize the amount of work that you do. So I'm so grateful for what you do. Thank you so much.
Not at all. We'll get you back on again in the future, Anil, and we wish you every success. We'll put a lot of your contacts in the show notes after the show so people can contact you. Anil Gupta, thank you so much for joining us on I'm The Gaffer. We'll see you again in the future.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye.